Each computer in the networks needs to know its IP address for communication. If the computer uses classless addressing or is a member of subnet, it also need to know its subnet mask. Most computers today needs two other pieces of information: the address of a default router to be able to communicate with other network, and the address of a name server to be able to use names instead of addresses. These four pieces of information can be stored in a configuration file and accessed by the computer during the bootstrap process. But what about a diskless workstation or a computer booted for the first time? Earlier we used protocol like RARP, Reverse Address Resolution Protocol, or BootP, Bootstrap Protocol. But now we are using a more advanced protocol called Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, DHCP. So to understand DHCP completely, watch the video till the end. The DHCP is client-server protocol designed to provide the four pieces of information for a diskless computer or a computer that is booted for the first time. First, the IP address of the computer. Second, the subnet mask of the computer. Third, the IP address of a router. Fourth, the IP address of a name server. Normally, a DHCP server has a database with a pool of available IP addresses. This database makes DHCP dynamic. When DHCP client requests a temporary IP address, the DHCP server goes to the pool of available IP addresses and assigns an IP address for a negotiable period of time. DHCP provides temporary IP addresses for a limited period of time. The addresses assigned from the pool are temporary addresses. The DHCP server issues a lease for a specific period of time. When the lease expires, the client must either stop using the IP address or renew the lease. The server has a choice to agree or disagree with the renewal. If the server disagrees, the client stops using the address. Let's understand the DHCP client transitions in detail. When we boot the client, it first goes into the init state. In this initializing state, the client broadcasts a DHCP discover message using port 67. After sending the DHCP discover message, the client goes to the selecting state. Those servers that can provide this type of service respond with the DHCP offer message. In these messages, the server offers an IP address. They can also offer the lease duration. The default is 1 hour. The server that sends a DHCP offer locks the offered IP address so that it is not available to any other clients. The client chooses one of the offer and sends a DHCP request message to the selected server. It then goes to the requesting state. However, if the client receives no DHCP offer message, it tries 4 more times, each with a span of 2 seconds. If there is no reply to any of these DHCP discovers, the client sleeps for 5 minutes before trying again. The client remains in the requesting state until it receives a DHCP ACK message from the server that creates the binding between the client physical address and its IP address. After receipt of the DHCP ACK, the client goes to the bound state. In the bound state, the client can use the IP address until the lease expires. When 50% of the lease period is reached, the client sends another DHCP request to ask for renewal. It then goes to the renewing state. When in the bound state, the client can also cancel the lease and go to the initializing state. The client remains in the renewing state until one of two events happens. It can receive a DHCP ACK which renews the lease agreement. In this case, the client resets its timer and goes back to the bound state. Or if DHCP ACK is not received and 87.5% of the lease time expires, the client goes to the rebinding state. The client remains in the rebinding state until one of three events happen. If the client receives a DHCP NACK or lease expires, it goes back to initializing state and tries to get another IP address. If the client receives a DHCP ACK, it goes to bound state and reset the timer. So this is how DHCP manages IP addresses. See you in next such exciting video. Bye bye. If you like this video, press like and subscribe the channel and share the video. And don't forget to press the bell icon for my new video notifications. Thanks for watching.